Today on the American Truck Podcast, Nintendo Switch doesn't replace the 3DS, Planet Coaster will have advanced guest AI, Apple released new MacBook Pros, and Minecraft is coming to the Apple TV. Hello and welcome to the American Truck Podcast with Andrew C.
Then Jefferson B.
And Freelance Gamer.
Are you awake this time?
Yeah, I'm awake. For now.
For now, operative words.
Tequila keeps you awake. It's pretty nice.
I see. I'm
Yeah,
trying to
what
make a
else keeps you
Tequila
awake?
Mockingbird joke, but I can't.
Ah, there you go. That was actually one right there.
But I can't because I don't have one. I don't know the plot of Tequila Mockingbird that well.
You know what else keeps you awake?
What else keeps you awake?
Slalom courses.
Woo! I'm going too fast. I'm going too fast. I'm going too fast. I'm going too fast.
All of the courses.
Ah!
We both managed to crash into things.
Yeah.
We're not good at slaloming.
I swear I have a driver's license. I just may not have a CDL.
Definitely don't have a CDL. Is your truck irreparably damaged?
It's only 74%. Though I'm curious if, given the amount of episodes of this podcast that we've recorded where we have been driving trucks, if we are somehow more at an advantage than people who were just normally taking their CDL.
I did see something about people going and getting their CDL after exclusively playing this game for driving training.
Okay, now I'm irreparably damaged after running into you.
Oh.
It's okay. Just keep talking. I'll catch up.
Yeah, it's so I'm pretty sure I saw that though. I think that was an actual thing. The SES people posted it on their Facebook page.
That doesn't surprise me at all.
Hey, did you see any of the things about the Nintendo Switch?
Dude, I am so following this console like a hawk. I am like white on rice on the Ku Klux Klan.
There you
That's
go.
quickly.
I was going to say that last night I accidentally called it the Sony Switch. So, no. I'm
Oh
not
yeah, he
at
did.
all.
It's kind of fun.
Wow. Waiting for the hate comments in 3, 2.
How dare you?
No, really, I misspoke and was like, wait a minute, that's Nintendo, right? They're doing things again. I forgot.
Although I look forward to the different kinds of skins that we will be able to apply onto these consoles. Like I keep seeing on Reddit people that are making like somebody did a mock-up of what a transparent one would look like, harkening back to that great transparent purple Nintendo 64 that we had back in the day.
Or the Game Boy Color.
Absolute. Oh my goodness, yes. The
Yep.
transparent Game Boy Color was the best.
Still have mine.
Do you really?
Hmm?
Oh, dude, we gotta bust that thing out.
Yep. Worked last
But,
time. Put it away.
I could totally see people doing like either faceplate replacements or just doing like really clever vinyl skinning with them. And I hope that one of them is a Sony logo.
It would be interesting. But
I mean, there's a bunch of interesting stuff with this thing. Like we just found out that it's supposed to have a capacitive touchscreen,
that's right.
which is nice.
Yeah, because
I
we
hope
weren't sure. That was the only thing people weren't really sure about last week was whether
Right,
it was going to
and-
have a touchscreen or not.
Right, and that's going to impact whether or not we have a valid price point or not, which we're not finding out until January, which makes me happy because this means we don't have to worry about like early promises, but really upset because I want to know about this console.
Yeah.
First world problems.
They said it's supposed to be on par pricing wise with previous Nintendo consoles, but it could be anything, you know. I mean, it could be.
Right.
It could
And
be-
will there be bundle packs? Or are we going to see like the home bundle or the pro bundle? You know, like different things like that because it's such an accessory-driven console.
Right. It probably will have bundles.
Yep.
So yeah.
By the way,
that's
it's
thing.
not replacing the 3DS. I forgot to mention that.
That's
but
correct.
this is the home console, and there will be a portable console.
Right.
Probably just a continuation of the 3DS, which I really
Yeah,
hope
they
it
said
is
they're-
because that ecosystem is solid as a rock right now.
Yep, and they said that was the kind of the reasoning why they didn't expect that they were gonna have any problem cannibalizing 3DS or anything. So
Right.
So never fear, this is not the new 3DS.
Exactly.
It is
Although there already is a new 3DS.
correct, and a new 3DS.
Dang, this is getting complicated.
Really is. Really is. Should have called it
just-
like the 3DS2 or something, or the 3DS
Or the
A, B, or C.
3.5 DS.
The 3.5 DS.
The 3DSD.
Ah, here we are. The 3DS Pro.
Even
go.
that would have been better
Eh?
than
Ooh,
the
ooh,
new
or
3DS.
What about the 3DS Air? Hey, are you catching my drift?
I catch your drift.
Are you smelling what I'm stepping
The
in?
3DS trash can. All right, good talk.
There we go. There we go.
3DS.
Trash can.
That
3DS.
That would be bigger, I think.
It would be.
Or
maybe
that would also be known as the Switch.
Ooh.
There you go.
I mean, the Switch and the Trash Can Mac probably have a lot in common with one another. But I hope,
Wait,
I
you were
hope with
talking
some of these
about Macs?
updates, maybe Nintendo will borrow some stuff from these new MacBook Pros that we got this week.
You never know. They very well might. Yeah, biggest thing there is that they got these pretty sweet emoji bars, also known as touch bar, which gives you kind of
Useful for way more than just emojis, I hope.
yeah.
Many emojis. Holy
Many
emojis.
emojis is what they're providing. Basically allows quick access to some task-oriented options. So like in Photoshop, you can access all the like blending modes right from that. You don't have to go through the different menus to access stuff. And like you can see your full timeline in Final Cut, and I'm sure Premiere can do the same.
Yeah,
So
it's actually it's really good for what is it? Increasing your work time.
yeah,
You want to be
Sorry.
decreasing your work time, increasing efficiency. At that
Increasing efficiency.
Yeah.
Right.
I saw
And
they
it makes
showed
sense,
they showed some
especially-
pretty nifty demos with a DJ doing all kinds of effects using that as a touch interface and whatnot. So it's definitely going to have some unique uses for it.
Right. I mean, you combine that with this new larger Force trackpad. I mean, it really is. It's a great pairing at this point.
It is, and dear goodness, was that trackpad large?
Yes, it is. But it's so great, so glorious. Just all the space.
I
All
mean,
the space.
you're definitely not going to run out of trackpad space with this one.
You know, I have seen people. They get capacitive pens and they use their trackpads as digital drawing tablets.
Yeah, I can see
It's
that.
a thought. It's a thought. I'm just saying.
I wonder if the Apple Pencil will work with that.
That would be cool, actually. There's no Lightning port, though.
No, there isn't.
Bit awkward.
So that does.
And I mean, it is a little bit pricey. I gotta give it that. It's definitely aimed at a higher marketing tier than myself.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Right now,
They
we're
start
looking
out
at
about $1,800.
Yeah, that's just a little steep. You know, I mean,
Kinda steep.
we were looking earlier at comparable other notebooks, and I mean, it's up there. It's definitely up there as far as high end goes. But high end is definitely not where I live.
But wouldn't it be nice?
If I were up there, if I was Jay-Z and like could do that.
You'd have like 12 of those. You'd be like you'd have one for every room in your house.
Oh man,
your
you're right.
car.
But I would need so many dongles though.
And that is my problem as
Donglepalooza.
someone who supports these computers. Now I gotta support people who have Mac Airs, Mac Pros. We bought the new Mac Pro, so now I'm gonna have Thunderbolt 2s and Thunderbolt 3 adapters, or USB Type C
Invest
adapters.
in a good label maker.
That doesn't.
That's all I'm saying.
People don't. Here's the thing. I would love to say that would help, but people don't realize that they're taking them. It happens way too often where someone will plug into a projection system, they'll pick up their machine, and they'll throw it in their bag, and they won't realize that. Now, if it's plugged into like a VGA, it generally doesn't get taken, or if it's plugged in DVI, it's fine. But if it's like an HDMI one, they might just unplug it and be quickly going through things, and then boop goes in the bag, boop goes in the bag, boop.
You
goes
mean
in the bag.
if it's one that's actually valuable?
Yeah, valuable. That's the point. But very frequently, people don't notice that they're taking them, and so that's another problem that's going to happen. And now every conference room I have doesn't just have a VGA or an HDMI, and then its converter to a mini display port. It's now going to have a Thunderbolt 2 and a Thunderbolt 3 / USB Type C for all of them.
Tales from tech support hell, everybody.
It's good.
Aren't you loving it?
Oh,
But
and then there's also the people who are backing up on external drives that happen to roll off USB type, USB Type A, but that have their entire what's it
Who
called?
needs
My brain-
backups?
What's that called again?
Time machine.
Time machine. Thank you. I was thinking migration system. Like that's the other side of that. But yeah, no, that's kind of a downside to the machine.
No one needs backups. This is 2016.
If you've time machined your machine to a USB drive, and you plan to just load it up onto the new machine, all your profile and whatnots,
better have a dongle.
You better have a dongle.
Yep.
So that's, but it kept the 3.5 millimeter jack.
That's right. You can plug headphones into this all you want, unless you got those lightning headphones. Then rip.
But I honestly, as a consumer, I say it's a really nice device, and it would really work really well for like anyone independently working.
Yeah. Just don't work in IT, and you don't have a problem.
Nope. Won't do it.
I feel like
Especially with a company that just decides to buy 3 of them. Sorry.
I feel like that's probably the answer to a lot of people's woes. Just don't work for IT, and everything is okay.
Pretty much.
Right? Ignorance is bliss, right?
The day I become a user is a glorious day. I can't wait.
One minor thing. Rip the boot chime. No more glorious boot noises. And I will say sort of, because someone was perusing the terminals, and they found a line that you can shove into the terminal and it'll reactivate the boot chime.
This is true.
But you cannot get back the light up
that
Mac logo. That's gone permanently.
So wait, if it has a long time to boot up, what does it do? Like, say Firewall Vault encrypted the thing, it does, like...
Even full disk encryption right now isn't going to take that long.
It's got the SSD has got the 3 gigabit per second.
Oh, that's right.
Read
Yeah,
write.
versus like the standard ones, like...
Yeah.
That's
so
true.
It's going to be lightning fast, but it doesn't have one of those ports. But moving right along here, we discovered that the Steam this week has said that they are going to require real screenshots for all things that you're going to sell on their store. So you can't just have conceptual art, you got to have actual screenshots now depicting what you're selling.
This surprises me because I didn't realize that this was actually a thing. People would upload screenshots of just concept art.
Yeah, apparently.
And I guess I just need to like peruse Greenlight a little bit more.
Yeah.
This is bizarre to me. It's a question of why would you try to sell something that doesn't actually exist yet? It's kind of like dehydrated water.
I question about No Man's Sky.
The producers.
Oh, that's a different story.
You both
That's
right? No. But really though, you can make a lot more money off a flop than you can a hit, and No Man's Sky is still a good example of that.
This is very true. Definitely.
Although I don't know if you guys have been seeing some of the fallout, but dear goodness, my heart goes out to Sean Murray because that man has gone through a lot.
Yeah, the thing that I saw in all of the discussion about this whole screenshot thing is the fact that No Man's Sky released screenshots. But the problem was that their screenshots included things that didn't ship. And so you do have a problem with this whole requiring real screenshots because it doesn't guarantee that that is going to be the game despite there being screenshots.
Right, it could be something that's screenshot out of alpha or beta or
exactly,
a
or something that didn't make the final game. So
or
it's
something that's just built using the same
solution.
engine at that point.
Mm-hmm.
So it is a question of like, okay, when you say screenshot, do you mean a screenshot of a finalized like Gold Master build? Like, what do we mean when we say here?
That is the inherent problem of this guideline, because it doesn't say. It doesn't tell you that it should be the final game. One can understandably agree that you and I would say that should be the final game that the screenshots are coming from, but there's nothing to say that it per se has to be. That would be the spirit of the rule,
right?
But not really necessarily the letter of it.
Correct. And it's also one of those things where, I mean, maybe up until 2 weeks before a game releases, feature X is totally planned, but 2 weeks before, due to some, I don't know, weather pattern uprising in Taiwan, thanks to the butterfly beats of a butterfly's wing beat in Africa, somehow changes a feature that you had to add into your game.
Right. There could be a feature you have that does not work.
Right. It had to go dormant, and it might just be one of those things. And it's like, Is this now an illegitimate screenshot if I'm debuting a feature that I plan to release after 3 months when when the typhoon dies down?
Right.
Like, there's a lot of questions, and I think it's going to be a lot of sheriff's law, if you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, definitely. And like a good example of a game that's a AAA title that didn't ship with some of the things that it's going to have later is actually Battlefield 1. Battlefield 1 doesn't have custom game maps, it doesn't have a hardcore mode, and it doesn't have competitive mode yet.
All of these features were planned?
All these things are planned. All these things are part of what they're going to have in the final game.
Did they tell you that they
Now
were
here's the
planned
thing.
and
Here's the
coming
thing.
soon?
They can't communicate that. They said that it was going to be a part of like when you look it up like what's in the game, those are listed.
Gotcha.
But the thing is, in a screenshot, you can't really signify that.
Right.
You can't be like, oh, hey, look, this is hardcore mode. It's going to look the same as the multiplayer mode.
Right.
So,
unless you had a screenshot that said easy, medium, hard, hardcore.
Yeah, of course, exactly, yeah.
You
But
know,
like,
coming soon.
Yeah,
right.
or something like
and
that.
It actually says that on the game, but this is again, it's a AAA title that's doing this, and it's not like they're going back on their promise and they're not going to deliver on it. They're going to, but technically, it wasn't there on start.
We have there's a known exploit in the system, is what we're saying. Is what I believe what we're getting at mostly.
Yep. Definitely some reason of concern for this system that we're kind of shoving now.
Right, both a false positive and a true negative, I guess is the right way to put that. I don't really know if that works.
I see what you're saying.
Where there could be a situation where someone takes advantage of that and uses screenshots, that of something that doesn't ship. But there could also be somebody who, doesn't, use screenshots of something, or like has a feature that is going to ship with it, but doesn't have the screenshots of it, basically.
Right.
And it can go either way.
Yep. Definitely can. So we've been talking about Planet Coaster a bunch, and one of the recent things, basically the people at Frontier, every week or every couple days, they're releasing little videos talking about some of the things that are happening in the game, things that are going to be shipping with the game once it releases and goes into beta on the 8th of this month, and then releases on the 17th. One of the things they talked about this week was the guest AI, or the artificial intelligence, or the guest brain that this game is going to have, and they kind of highlighted that they've made their guests really autonomous. They're very different from each other as well. So you have guest A, Jimmy, comes in, he wants to ride really slow rides. He's not into the roller coaster, so he's going to only go, and he's going to go right for the carousel and the low to ground stuff. Then you got Bobby, who comes in, he's real into super hyped up stuff. He wants to ride on all the roller coasters. He's going to wander around looking for roller coasters, and if he doesn't find a single roller coaster in your place, he's going to leave. And that's the simple thing of it. So they've kind of documented how you're going to have these guests who come in, and they're going to have very specific wants and needs, very specific, kind of like Sims-like aspects, where you have all these little meters of like what's I gotta go to the bathroom, I'm hungry, I got
they all have different tastes.
They have different tastes and whatnot, different feelings about how things are going to be, and they're going to be affected by different things. And I'm sure that one of those things is probably going to be scenery. People probably will be greatly affected by the scenery in different areas, and so if you have a skew part of your park where it doesn't quite match the theme of what that section is, your guests are probably going to be upset.
Or some of them may love it while they hate the rest of the park.
Right, very possible. And so the people's personal drive is really going to affect their behavior in the game and how well you do, because they're looking for a specific thing and they may or may not find it. And so it'll be interesting to see how it really goes there. And, I'm excited because they're starting to show some of the things that weren't in the game previously in the alpha that I played, and so it's nice to see that some of those things are working their way into the game. The park management stuff is there. Your finances are all starting to show up in the game as playable things. and we'll definitely see more of that at the beta. And if more things happen between now and the beta, we'll talk about it again. Otherwise, we'll talk about it after the beta, and I've played it a little bit, see if it's better now. Bit of a PSA though. If you bought an EVGA NVIDIA GTX 1080 or 1070,
fuck.
you may want to contact EVGA through their special thermal pad website. They've discovered that some of them, it's more particularly a problem if you overclock your cards. If you're not big on overclocking, it's not necessarily a huge problem, but they have discovered some problems where the voltage regulator modules can overheat due to the lack of thermal pads. Why they thought that they didn't need thermal pads, I don't know, but they didn't bother to put them on. And so they're offering them for free. You just go to the website, log in with your EVGA account, which I know you have because you use EVGA Precision X, and you have to log in for that. Well, sort of. But that's a different podcast where we've already been grumpy about that. But you can go on there and they'll ship them to you for free. You can just get them because they acknowledge that they kind of messed up and not putting those in. And it's not a hard procedure. You just take the back plate off, stick them on, and put the back plate back on. And then your card won't blow up anymore.
I wonder if this is a thing of they didn't engineer them to have thermal pads, or was it somebody in some factory somewhere forgot to load the thermal pad slot?
Could have been either. Could have deemed it not necessary.
I think it's that one because it's on almost. I don't think it's on any of them.
Yeah.
It's
They
not
just
like
didn't put 'em
they
in.
did a run and then oh no,
And then
we need
the
to
new
put it
ones
on.
have it. Yeah,
Well,
no,
we
they just
assume
said that they don't. None of them have it. So
We assume
Right.
each run gets its own QC.
right? But we're talking 1070 and 1080.
Right.
So two different cards should have definitely. The chances that two different cards, which were being run separate times, they didn't catch it on one of the two. Really?
Man, I don't know.
It's pretty. That'd be very coincidental.
It would be. I really doubt it. I'm pretty sure it's just a matter. None of them had it, and they started having people complain about their cards literally blowing up after overclocking them because of catching fire and whatnot because of the voltage regulator overheating.
Popping.
And so,
If you're smelling toast, you aren't necessarily having a stroke. You may actually just have your graphics card going out.
Or you might be making toast.
Completely
that's
possible.
also possible. If you are one of the unlucky people who have had their graphics card fail for this exact reason, they are swapping them out, no questions asked, and then just giving people new cards as a result, since they are owning up to the fact that this is a problem that is very probable.
Now my question is, let's say you don't put those on your card, and your card does overheat or pop in the next 2 months. Are they going to say, well, we gave you this thing, you knew about it, why are you didn't put them on, this is now a user fault rather than a company fault? I'm curious if they're still going to take the blame for people who don't find out about this or don't take up on this deal.
I'm gonna say it depends on how good a job of marketing the problem they do, because it's not like, if they send every person who owns one an email, if the retailer that you buy the card from sends you an email saying, hey, you bought an EVGA GTX 1080, you need to request these pads and install them. If they don't do that, there's no reason to assume that the consumer saw it.
Right, and even if you do that, there's no reason to assume that. Even if you send an email to an address, there's no way you can know someone saw that unless you get a reply.
Right.
You're still causing an assumption, whereas I may block all of Newegg's emails because they send too many of them and send them to my spam filter. Or I may send them to a different inbox, or I may mark them as read automatically through a filter. And so I never check them. So I have a feeling that this is going to be interesting to see in the next coming months, to see if anyone else's cards do have this problem, and if post, like a decent amount of time post, like 2 or 3 months from now, if people are having these cards pop and EVGA's still replacing them. Because to be honest, it is a fault with the original hardware that you were sold.
Right.
For you to do your own maintenance goes beyond most likely what would be acceptable use or acceptable requirements of your consumer.
Right. Not everyone takes their backplate off their graphics card and goes,
Oh, I'll just put this on.
why doesn't this have a thermal thingy on this thing? This looks like it gets hot. I'm gonna go and get some and stick it on there and then put my backplate back on.
And some people may not have, and this sounds bad, but some people may not actually have the comfortability or the technical skill to do this.
Very probable. I would actually fancy, I guess, a decent number of people would not be interested in necessarily doing it.
Right.
I mean, it's not difficult, but
again, you
it's
cannot
not the
assume
same
that
as just installing the backplate in the first place.
Right, or buying a computer that already had it installed.
Yep. Yep. So this is definitely a thing you want to do. We'll leave the link to that special EVGA page down in the doobly-doo, and you can pull that up there, and you can go and request your thing. And hopefully your card does not blow up between now and when you get the replacement pads or the new pad. The pads in the first place. Yeah, the pads in the first place. But to move on to something that's kind of confusing to me. So when they were releasing the new Macs, they also talked about the Apple TV a little bit. And one of the things they dropped on us was the fact that Minecraft was going to come to the Apple TV. And I don't entirely understand how that's going to work.
We're going to start with that. Why? What controller? Who wanted this?
And how is it going to work? Because so the new Apple TV does have a touch controller that allows you to play games on it. The new Apple TV does have games and whatnot. But Minecraft is kind of a convoluted game to play on a console. I dare say it's kind of annoying already to play even on like the 360, Xbox One, whatever those, the various traditional consoles that we have out there that it's available on. I can only imagine what it's going to be like to play on an Apple TV.
I thought it was one of those apps that would require the usage of like a Xbox 360 style controller.
It very well might, but there's no information at this point other than the fact that it was coming.
Okay.
So,
I wasn't sure if I had seen that during the keynote or not.
No, they really didn't talk about it. They just said that it was coming to the Apple TV in the future.
Let me guess, there was much cheering, clapping, and everybody was happy.
And then we moved on.
Right.
Yep, pretty much.
Sounds like a typical Apple keynote.
Yep, that was how it went. So, I would hazard a guess that it probably will require a third-party controller of some kind. I know.
We're gonna get more buttons. Isn't there an Apple Pro isn't there like a Pro gaming controller for the Apple TV? I thought
there is, but I don't think it's made by Apple. Apple, when they originally came out with the new Apple TV with games and whatnot on it, they originally had a requirement that for a game to be accepted into the Apple TV store, you had to be able to play the game with the Apple TV remote that shipped with it. And I'm pretty sure after a couple months they reversed that and said that you could, if it needed a separate controller, that was fine now. So I would not be terribly surprised that you need a third-party controller to play Minecraft on the Apple TV.
if there's a way to control that to where only users with an extra controller can purchase it, because otherwise you'll have some very upset people.
Yeah, I don't have an Apple TV, so I don't know how that works.
Likewise, but it will be one of those things where it's like, this is
I would
interesting.
assume it's the same thing as like the way in-app purchases work, where it tells you that this thing has in-app purchases. Hey, this game requires a specific controller to be able to play it. I would assume you would. Need
I would
that,
hope so.
That kind of warning. Apple seems to be decently good at warning people about stuff like that when it comes to microtransactions, at least.
What would be cool is if it could use AirPlay mirroring, and you could use your iPhone as a controller.
It's very possible. That could be an option.
This way you get the touchscreen. This way you can access your inventory bar. You can bring up a crafting menu. You really could do a lot.
Yep. That's actually an interesting use case that I'm thinking about for the emoji bar. If they
Minecraft?
were able to add it into Minecraft, then you could kind of access your like inventory and stuff from the emoji bar. You just boom, I need some wood, click on the wood, and your hand automatically turns to wood rather than necessarily 1 through 9ing it. You could actually see the little pictures of all your inventory.
You could do that with like other like MOBAs or other type of inventory shuffling games.
Yep.
Assuming you always put your inventory back the correct way.
This is true.
Well, it would just load from your inventory.
Yeah, but you'd have to sort your inventory manually yourself, always that same way, so that way you would be used to it being in that spot.
Right.
Well,
so like
for muscle memory
if your
purposes,
bag
I
is
see
set up so like your potion is always in slot 1, you would need to keep doing that yourself. When you put them in, you would need to load it that way.
Right.
If your
'cause
weapon
you
is on a certain button, it needs to stay there. You can't accidentally load it into slot 12. Because you dumped your bank, your bag at the bank, or you went to sell a bunch of stuff, and now your bag is disorganized.
I see. Because I was thinking, like, I mean, the touch bar itself will auto-load whatever is
it's
going
just
on
a
in the
matter
inventory.
From that gaming side, you got to remember to alter
It's a
your
user
inventory.
input thing at that point.
Yeah, because even though it's got a picture, you're gonna have some kind of robotic memory of this is where it should be at some point.
Right.
Even though it's not a physical key. But I believe that is it for today. Hope you enjoyed this episode of the American Truck Podcast. If you like this episode, make sure you hit the like button down below. Perhaps also leave a comment and subscribe. And we will see you guys next week.